Come on. Get in there. Get in. Oh, I'll have some of that. Yeah, so she's going to be lively tonight. I might be able to get one quick go at it. There we go. 53.12.
Nice.
£55 an ounces. There we go. Is that alright, Ed?
Good one, mate. Good one. Nice fish. Well done, you.
Look at that. Just look at that. It is a unit. That is for sure. And a slippery one at that. There we go. £50.14. That is a lovely, lovely wake up call, that. Tuesday morning. Right, let's get into this. The Viper rig. Okay, so the first component we want to start off with is, or the first section, is this sucker here. So, briefly, this is some hybrid stiff, stripped back, attached to a cut down eye of a size 4 crank, a blunt crank that I've used. I keep all my blunt hooks. I just cut the eyes off because I use them all the time for the rigs. As I said, it's attached by a 4-turn grinner. The reason I use the eye of a hook is because this section here plays a major part when you're actually playing a fish. This will take the full force and the full pressure, so it needs to be something substantial. So I've opted for the eye of a hook. People ask, why do I use the eye of a hook as opposed to something like a rig ring like this? Well, the majority of rig rings, in fact pretty much all of the rig rings, are pressed out of flat steel and they've got sharp edges, and I didn't want any weak point within this section, as I said, because this takes the brunt, the full pressure when you're playing a fish. So obviously the sensible option is to use the eye of a hook. So anyway, how do we do it? Right, let's put that aside. Okay, so what we do is we grab an eye of a hook. Just grab one here. There we go. Grab some hybrid stiff, and I always leave it on the reel. Don't take it off. Thread that through. Come back out, and simply do 4-turn grinner. 1, 2. I swear my fingers are getting fatter. 3, 4. So there's the 4-turn grinner. Give that a little bit of moisture. Then I grab the eye with a set of quarter pliers and just gently tease that down. So that is now solid. I'll just cut the tag end off. Like so. And there you have it. Then I'll strip off 4.5 to 5 inches. This thing's a little bit blunt, I think. Let's try that one. There that's better. Get rid of all your excess. And there you go. That's probably a little bit longer than 5 inches, but it doesn't matter. Then what I'll do is I'll just leave about 2 or 3 mil of the coated section still on there and trim that back. So you're ended up with, as I said, with that section. The reason I leave a little bit of coated on there because these suckers here, they're very fine and it's fiddly to put it on without a coated section on there, but we'll come to that in a second. Right, okay, so that's the first part done. The next component is obviously the hook. I use a size 2 wide gape X micro barbed, or depending on the venue that I'm fishing, it may be a wide gape barbless size 2. So the next section we've got to do is we physically got to turn that eye outwards like so. Okay, and to do that I'll just grab my quarter pliers and just slowly bend it out. There we go, like so. So there we have it. So we've ended up with a hook with an outturned eye. The next component we're going to need is the Viper arm itself, which is that component there. What we're ended up with is basically that. That's what we want. We want the arm attached to the hook. These arms are available from Kelliett's Estate Lake Systems. I buy mine separately. But you can buy kits, the whole kit, so to speak. Right, okay, so all we've got to do now is attach the arm. This is pretty much like a hook bead, really, that goes on like a hook stop type thing. And always grab the body itself. Do not grab the arm because these are sacrificial, and these are quite weak. Okay, and there's a reason for that. So there you go. That's that part. Okay, the next components we're going to need are a 2mm rig ring and float stops. Now we've got to put this all together now. So basically what we do is we grab a hybrid stiff link, pass it through the arm and the eye of the hook, like so. And there we have it. So that's that bit there. And this is why I leave the coated section off on the hybrid stiff, because the rig rings are very fiddly and they can be a bit temperamental to get onto the rig. So that's on there. And then what I'll do now is, don't need that section, we just cut the coated section off, and then we add the float stop like so. Okay, so there we have it. That is pretty much the Viper rig section done. Okay, now this section is done, I just want to run through the mechanics and the vital part of each of the components. Okay, the eye of the hook with the coated hybrid stiff section there, that is going to take the full brunt, as I said previously, when you're playing a fish. Theoretically, what happens when you hook a fish, the actual eye will pass through it. Sometimes it doesn't, and it doesn't make any difference, but majority of the times it will pass through the eye of the arm. So it passes through. If I just pull that through, I'll show you, like so. Okay, that's 9 times out of 10 what happens. Sometimes this section here will split, okay, which is no big deal, but in essence that's what you're playing the fish on, that section there. So the coated section of the hybrid stiff and the eye of the hook are there, and that holds the fish. Okay, I've never had one fall off, and I've catching fish well over £50 on this rig. I've yet to get a 60, which would be nice. So there you go, that is it. The idea of the 2mm rig ring there is to give you separation between the eye of your hook and the actual bead itself. Okay, or sort of float stop. So that stops it. So that's it. Okay, so if I bring that back up, and you've probably seen this on my other video when I was at Crete Lakes, the mechanics are simple. They are very, very effective. Now this is ideal not only as a bottom bait, but also a spinner. It's also brilliant as like a spinner type rig or a pop-up. So basically what happens is, no matter where you go, as I explained before, if I get my fat finger out of the way, this will just drop in any direction as it's picked up. If you're using it as a pop-up, then again it's superb. Now the beauty of this rig, and this is one thing that I find invaluable, is we can change the aggression of the hook. It can either be well over or it could be tight, and to do that you just adjust the arm. So if I just simply grab this, move the arm down, and you can see now the aggression is angled really, really aggressively on that one. You can see that there. Or, as I said, we can bring the arm up and we can make that a little bit more subtle. Okay. Now also, by adjusting the actual float stop up or down, you can then adjust the distance between the pop-up and the curve of the hook itself. So the options you've got with this rig are excellent. I find it very, very versatile, but I tend to use it mainly if I'm fishing over gravel as a bottom bait, and as I said, it comes up and it just flips. So there you go. That is the Viper rig in essence. Okay, the next step is to attach your supple link to your boom section, and this is done using the Rigmarole clear stiff link in 25 pound. So what we need to do first off is basically move the float stop up to your eye, and move this, which is potentially the hair section, up to the eye as well, so everything's nice and tight. The reason being is that will determine the length of the supple section when I pull everything tight on the boom. Okay, right, so grab yourself your chosen boom section. As I said, this is the 25 pound clear stiff link. Form a loop, like so. Okay, then we pass the supple section up through and pinch it tight. Now I leave around about 15 to 20 mil there, and what I'm after is I want the bead to be touching the end of the loop. So, like so. Okay, now that's ready to go. So now I do the 6 turns of the new improved Albright coming towards the loop. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pinch that tight. Then what we do is we go back and go under and through 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now that's all done. So what I do now is I gently wet my fingers and pull everything tight up to the end of the loop. Then I grab my puller tool and we simply just tease that like so. Give it the big one, because as I said, that's going to be a weak point of your rig. So there you go. The pressure I'm exerting there would never be the pressure you put onto a rod. It's not physically possible. But anyway, there we go. So that's all done. So what we do now is simply cut the tag ends off. So there you have it. Okay. Now the tag ends and the knot itself, as we all know, makes a great anchor point for your putty. So there we have it. Okay. What I tend to do now is I cut off around about 8 inches of the boom section. I'll put this out of the way. So with the 8 inches of your clear stiff link cut off, I'll then attach a tungsten anti-tangle. Okay, and then I thread a size 7 crimp. Size 7 works well with the 25 pound clear stiff. So let's push it back through. Bang. So what I tend to do now is I just measure off. I've usually got a scale here, but for these purposes I won't. So basically I'll just move it all up, round about there. There we go. So just tease the crimp up. There we go. And just crimp this down. Cut off your tag. I always leave a little bit of tag on there as well. And I'll tuck that into the anti-tangle sleeve. Right, so potentially that's it. That's the finished rig. But what I'll do now, when it's very important we do this, is we strength test it. And that's simply by grabbing through the loop and grabbing the hook and giving it the big one. So now everything's all tightened down. We simply add a little bit of putty over the connection knot there. I'll tuck the tag end into the anti-tangle sleeve, and the next stage is to attach your bait of choice. In this case obviously it's an 18mm pop-up. Right, so just grab some floss. Now, another reason I use a size 4 eye is because not only has it got to take the 4-turn grinner, it's also got to take the floss as well. So there's plenty of room for that to do it. And with the section here, that little tiny little spike, I put that into the bait. So there we go. That's that. Let's get the boilie. Push that through like that. Grab the floss. As I said, it's a little bit awkward doing this when you're on camera. Push that through. And then there we go. You can see the whole section's in the boilie. That's not going anywhere. So simply cut that off and we blob it. So there we have it. That is the Viper rig, ladies and gentlemen. So as I said, you can adjust this however you want to. I'm going to push up, stop up just a fraction, and you can see, look, it just drops anywhere. Okay. So there you have it. That is the Viper rig in all its essence. I hope you enjoyed the video itself. If there's any questions, obviously put them in the comments. and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Please like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. As I said, I'm almost up to 1,000 subscribers now, which is excellent. I really thank you all. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video.